That's terrible. Brock is like terrible, like
I
love it so
Sharknado.
much. I'm enamored.
Oh man, he just launched a rocket. Tackleberry. Yes. That is a thing. All right. So whenever you're ready.
Am I introducing?
Sure.
Okay.
We already got a lot of silence in there, too. So.
Okay.
I mean, Harambe got his due.
Harambe.
Rock and rule. Good band, hot music, the best of times. It could have lasted forever. Rock and rule.
Quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Drop Culture Podcast. I'm here.
So am I. But what are our names?
What? You're here, too?
I know, right?
What?
Unusual.
Crazy. I'm Dan.
I'm Brock.
And we're here to pump you up.
We're here to bump you up. Hopefully you can hear me this time.
Yeah, I hope so as well. But we're going to do a little movie. Little animated movie, sir.
Mm-hmm.
A Nelvana classic.
Ooh, and where's Nelvana out of?
Canada.
Animation studio.
That's right. And we're talking about Rock and Rule.
Yes. Now, this is a movie that I've been wanting to do for a long time.
He has been requesting this for a half a second, yes.
Yeah,
And
at least 2 days.
yeah. But yeah, 1983 Canadian classic.
I think they were even in production in 1977 for this one.
Really?
Yeah, all the way back then. Yeah.
Well, I know there was some things, and we'll talk about those. I'm
like
sure.
all the way back then. Like that was that long ago, but it's really not.
6 years, though.
Yeah. 78.
Okay.
It was
5 years, though.
Yeah. 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 It took them 5 years to make this shit. They ain't no Disney.
I'm glad I can math.
You know, but at the same time, didn't they come out with the Star Wars Holiday Christmas Special?
Yes, they did.
And they introduced the main man himself.
Who was voiced by a character from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about Boba Fett.
That's right. It was Boba Fett's first appearance in anything.
Yep.
Was this animated, which was actually kind of decent. It was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
But then now look what we got. We got freaking...
Yeah, we started from the bottom, now we're here.
I know, right?
The Mandalorian.
I know. Come on. They created everything with that. The first time you get to see the Mandalorian. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Nelvana.
Ding. So, I know this is a classic film to a lot of people. First time I watched it was for this episode. I do remember seeing like little clips of it as a child. You know what I mean? I don't know why or where, but like there were parts where I was like, this kind of seems familiar.
Yeah.
But I do not remember ever watching this.
It is, it's one of those movies that I had that my dad must have recorded at 3 o'clock in the morning on Showtime.
Sure.
Or
That
Cinemax
seems
or
very
something
much
like that. Yeah.
that's where you would watch it on Showtime after 11.
Yeah, it was probably like 87, 88 or something like that. Somewhere
Okay,
close to
yeah.
that because I can remember it being on there. And I found that tape one time. I forgot what else was on it because, of course, it was one of the 8 hours that you could do the long play on and get a good recording, right?
Yeah.
And, man, It started out.
1989's Punisher is also on it.
Yeah. No. I got that one by itself.
Ugh, sorry.
In its own case. But so I would watch that movie, watch this movie, Rock and Roll. God dang. Maybe back in the day, I probably watched it the first time I found it 10 times in a week.
Wow.
You know, like all the time. And then later on, I would like lose the tape and find it and be like, yes, found Rock and Roll. And then I watch it again. Right. But it was the quality of it was, you know, it was pay TV recorded onto a VHS.
Yeah.
You know? So there's probably landfills full of this shit. You know what I mean? Like you could be like, whoa, it's Becky's birthday, and you put it in there, and it's like, whoa, and that's not Becky's birthday. That's like the naughty Becky's birthday. You know, so yeah. So here's my little anecdote about this one, even though I have a lot. But so back in like 2000. I went on a hunt.
Back when?
Yeah. I went on a hunt for this.
Son.
That was like 20 years ago. Man.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Fucking A, man. So I
As
went.
somebody like that's like 20 now. What was Y2K?
Yeah. And they're like, didn't the world end?
Yeah.
No. It ended when Harambe died. So I went on a mad hunt for this movie, right?
Okay.
I was looking far and wide for it. What I found was a VCD copy of it that they would make a copy for you, right?
Okay.
I think I paid like 20
VCD, huh?
VCD.
Yeah,
like
I remember that.
$20, right? And I thought I could put it in my DVD player, but my DVD player wasn't VCD compatible.
Right.
So I got the damn thing, right? And this is when I had my very first one. It was a nice DVD player, right? It's one of the Sonys and it had like fast forward and shit. And you're like, whoa. Put it in there, right? Didn't fucking work.
Of course not.
Man, I left them a bad review. I was like, you need to give me my money back. Right? Yeah, I was like so mad. And then, you know, come to think, I was like, dang. Because you know what happened? I had it all those years, right? I think when I checked it, it was like 2007, 2008. I was like, I'm just going to put this in this one. And I put it in and the freaking thing started playing. I was like, son of a.
Because back in the day, you had to see what versions your DVD player would play.
Right.
Yeah,
and then later on,
all,
it does everything.
Yeah.
Except for the region stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I had the VHS, which was the recorded copy, and then I had that one, which was basically the VHS put onto CD.
I've got a couple DVDs like that.
Yeah.
You know,
and they would rip them, and you're like, yes.
This is so cool because I can't find it nowhere else.
Yeah. And it's not widescreen. It's all, you know, it's all regular. It's not even pan and scan.
Did you watch it this week?
Yeah.
Did you watch it on VCD?
No.
Did you watch it on the YouTube?
On the Amazon.
Oh.
I watched it on YouTube like a year ago.
Okay. Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. It's free on YouTube if anybody wants to watch.
And you got to watch it.
Always like to recommend that.
Yeah. Wherever it's streaming.
Wherever it's streaming, wherever it's free is always where I'm going to go first.
And the thing about it is I watch both of them, right? Both of the versions that are out there right now.
About that.
The quality on YouTube is the same as on Amazon.
Really?
Yes. Exact same. It's like they're streaming. This is like they're like, hey, can we borrow this from your server?
Wow.
So
making them YouTube deals.
Yeah. So nostalgia. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, let's start out with the fact that the budget for this movie was $8 million. We're going to get into why a little bit, but the box office for this movie was $30,000 and $30,379.
They buried it in the States.
Yeah.
They buried it.
Well,
and almost put Nirvana out of business.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into that a little bit. Like, first of all, like when they were making this, there was some groundbreaking stuff they were doing with, and I say groundbreaking, but it was almost like retrofitting from the videos I watched. They were using like older technology from like the 50s and 60s.
Where they had the triple planes and stuff like that.
But they did it like with computers hooked up to them. Oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they were doing, It was not like they were coming up with a whole new idea, but they were integrating with what they had now at that point. You know what I mean?
Right. Whenever they would do some wide shots. Because this is an animated movie, by the way.
Oh, yeah, if we didn't say that.
If we didn't
Rock
say
and
that
roll,
already.
animated.
Rock and roll is animated. But yeah, I recognized that the last time I watched it when I was like paying attention to the way it was made.
Yeah, absolutely.
They had that triple pane, double pane type of
You
a
could
deal.
tell-
The Disney thing.
Yeah, and I kind of watched like one of the scenes in one of the videos, like they were showing like when they were coming down into the city and going through the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And like when you watch that, you're like, oh, hey, I know how they did that.
Yeah. No, that's
Like
that's
magic. I know the magic.
that's specifically the part that I was looking at. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
okay, yeah.
You know, that because I saw something a long time ago about how Disney did their first like triple, quadruple pane something.
They're triple Lindy.
Yeah, they're triple Lindy. They did their triple Lindy on all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they were one of the very first movies to use computer graphics, one of the very first animated movies to use computer graphics, because the very first movie to do it, and I'm going to say that the very first, was like the Sherlock Holmes movie or something like that. It was like a stained glass window came to life, and that was the first computer composite, complete thing. This only used hints.
Right.
Of the computer graphics. And of course they were doing this. It came out in 83, but they were doing this from like 78 kind of up.
Right.
It started off at a weird deal.
Which you can tell if you watch any of the behind the scenes interviews with the people who make the animation, that it's totally the 70s.
Yeah.
Are
they all hippies?
No, it was like a mixture. It was a mixture. Like there's a one scene where the animators are talking, and that's where that plane thing is in. And the girl's like all dressed up, like I'm going to be on video. And the guy's like got long hair and a like trucker hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a beard. I don't know.
It's like the dudes from
And he's just like
Star
chilling
Wars.
to the side, and then you come to find out he made the whole thing. And he made her talk for like 10 minutes.
He's
Well, when I designed, whoa, where did this guy come from?
huh?
Calm down there.
That's the only reason why I wanted to get the Blu-ray and the DVD, because I was a part of, back whenever I was doing that searching, Unearthed Films. Now, Unearthed Films back in the day, they were a very, very small website, but they were grabbing these properties like this. We're talking like weird, obscure, crazy properties, and they were doing it. I think I probably still get the emails from Unearthed Film on like my old email, my web crawler one.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I know. And it's a weird deal.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested.
Yeah, and
somebody from Unearthed Films, get at us.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome.
I remember it came out. I wanted to get it. Didn't have it anywhere.
Really?
I couldn't get it. Wow. So that was still physical, because I wanted to see the behind the scenes. That's what I like about that stuff.
Sure.
And hopefully I was going to see the original version, with all the right voices everywhere, things like that.
Yeah.
Because there are like 3 or 4 different versions of this movie.
Yeah, I watched one for this show, just so you know.
Well, yeah, they had the U.S. version.
I think that's the one
That's the one that you watched. Yeah. They had the Canadian version.
That's not the one I watched.
That was broadcast on TV.
Really?
Yes.
So is that why the money coming back is so low? Did they get like money from a TV channel to run it?
No, I don't think so. Because they aired it in 1988.
Oh wow.
And they probably did it multiple times, but because it was like BlackBerry. It's like, hey,
right?
We got this movie, hey, let's watch it, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And then they started
did make a French version of it.
Yeah. So I mean, you have all this extra stuff and all these different versions of it, but the original cut I think was lost or something like that.
Okay.
Something
it was
crazy.
Black Angeled.
Yeah. It's they'll find it in Buenos Aires.
It's 4 hours long.
Yes.
Somehow Zack Snyder was involved.
Yes.
He was like 2. Anyways,
but the Laserdisc went out of print. The home video went out of print, and then Unearthed Films came along, and they did their whole relaunch. Yeah, and then they did the Blu-ray maybe 5 years after.
Okay.
Something crazy like that. But it kind of started in a weird way because, again, you had Nirvana doing that stuff. Nirvana. And, the only other person that was doing adult, animation besides heavy metal,
Right.
which was 1980, right?
Right?
81, 80,
Whatever.
when?
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
We did a podcast, right?
Yeah, we
It was
did.
weird. But it was more adult, right?
Yeah.
And then Ralph Bakshi, or Bakshi,
Did The Hobbit and all
he
that?
was doing all
Lord
kinds of
of the
stuff at that time.
Rings.
And you would think, but all of those movies were kind of cult movies too.
Yeah, of
in
course.
a way, cult animation,
sure.
Fritz the Cat, things like that, right? But this movie, to me, it was a rock and roll that was really cool because it was kind of like an opera. I don't know, hybrid musical type of a thing.
Oh, it really was,
because you had really cool artists on it. Just on the soundtrack, let's look at it. You have Debbie Harry, right?
Debbie Harry.
You
It
got-
was 1981 for heavy metal. Thank you.
You have
And
Debbie Harry and Robin Zander of Cheap Trick,
Yes.
right? Iggy Pop, Lou Reed, and you got full Cheap Trick too. Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Yes.
and Melanie Brown.
So, can we talk about this for a minute
Okay.
before we get too far into the music? Because the beginning of this, as the opening, it's very intense with like some lightning and thunder and clouds and pew, pew. It was the most hardcore intro to something that said Cheap Trick at the beginning. I'm like, it was the weirdest, surreal thing to happen. It was like, Cheap Trick. And I'm like, what?
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
No. It was opposite day because they led with Cheap Trick. And then Debbie Harry. And then you got Iggy Pop, Lou Reed, and Special something by Earth, Wind, and Fire, I think.
Well, you got.
You know what I mean? So it was like backwards of what was cool.
Yeah.
To me, anyways. I'm like, I'm not hating on Cheap Trick. I'm not hating on Blondie.
No.
But to me, like, I'd much rather listen to Iggy Pop, Lou Reed. Earth, Wind, and Fire is just fine.
Yeah.
You know.
I like Cheap Trick in a way, but not like I don't go out and buy all their records.
Yeah.
even
I don't think the
have
guys
them.
that are working for The Weeknd.
No.
No, who's that?
No, I don't know. That's like the Minutemen or something.
I don't know.
And something. But no.
What's a good Cheap Trick song?
Come on. Your mama's all right. Your daddy's all right. They just seem a little weird.
Yeah, okay.
Surrender.
I like how you're like, well, what am I talking about? I don't know.
What song? And I had to sing it. Surrender.
I think that's never been in my wheelhouse, though. Really, a
Cheap
lot
Trick?
of Cheap Trick. Yeah.
Not really. I've seen them 3 times, I think. 2
Have
times.
you really?
Yeah, no shit. They played before Stone Temple Pilots, and I also saw them at our block party. It was weird.
I can't hate on that. Like, I saw, who did we see? Tesla at our county fair.
Nice.
Yeah. I think Speedwagon came there in Boston, somebody.
See, and that was probably in what year?
Oh, late 90s.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's when the block party was.
Yeah.
So they were not officially gone. They were
Right.
still there, but they just weren't as popular
I saw
anymore.
the presidents at a county fair, too.
See? But that was when?
Probably not long after that.
10 years after or
Oh,
something?
no. They were popular, had been popular for maybe a couple years.
Hmm.
I don't know how they got roped into that.
I don't know. Somebody paid them. That. Little Blue Doom Boogie. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Debbie Harry was on top of the world at that time.
Yeah. Oh,
Lou
for sure.
Reed was doing all kinds of cool shit.
Being-
Iggy Pop was
Being
drugged out.
artsy fartsy,
Yeah, Iggy Pop was drugged out.
usually.
And Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That was probably kind of like they were probably popular, but kind of starting that wane, don't you think? Right there,
Yeah.
you know, like starting to kind of go away.
Bing, boom, 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 bing, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, no, like really cool, like funky stuff. So yeah.
Okay, so I just looked, and apparently I know a lot of Cheap Trick songs.
There you go. See,
Yeah, I don't. Again, I'm never going to buy a Cheap Trick album. Just throwing that out there. Iggy Pop,
Yeah.
Lou Reed, yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. And Iggy, you can't even tell it's him.
No.
You can tell a little bit of the inflections, but he was recording Zombie Birdhouse at the time.
Gotcha.
Which he went through a long phase. That's going to have to be an episode that we do.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
went through a completely odd phase of different record companies until he took over for himself. But okay,
Back to this movie.
Let's get into the principal cast for it.
Okay.
Now, okay. Honestly, I don't know most of these people. When we were looking them up, it was like, oh, okay, and they're really there. So Don Franks, which has done a lot of voices, mainly his claim to fame would be Police Academy, the animated series. I can't even say that with a straight face.
No.
No.
I don't think you can.
If you look him up on IMDb, you're going to see he's everywhere.
He was in heavy metal.
There you go. We got Greg.
Johnny Mnemonic, and that's all you need to know, son.
There you go. That's our connection to him.
But more importantly, he was at Boba Fett
Yes.
again in the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing in the world.
Yes. And then you got Greg Salata. He was Omar. But
Not my Omar.
yeah. But I don't think he was, because there was two different ones.
Yeah, no. Greg Salata was the one for the Canadian version.
Okay.
Paul Lamont was Omar in the American version.
Yes.
Yes. And then Robin Zander was Omar singing voice.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Took 3 people to play this motherfucker.
I know, right?
Hardcore.
But I would
It's a lot
like
of character depth. That's all I'm saying.
This always reminds me of the original version of Mad Max.
Okay.
Do you remember watching Mad Max the first time?
Absolutely.
With all the dubs.
Oh, gotcha.
Remember the dubs?
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, you memorized it with the dubs, right? It was all right there. Sucked until they came out with the actual Australian one, and you're like, yeah, this rules. I didn't even know the other one existed anymore. But that's what this reminds me of. That's why I want to hear the original voice. I want to see how it was, because it was like a teenager voice.
Oh, really?
No. The Paul Matt one.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a young adult.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you got Susan Roman. She did Angel,
Yes.
the other one. And then Don Franks does Mok Swagger.
Well, and we should say that Debbie Harry actually sings Angel's parts.
Her parts.
Yeah.
Don Franks was Mok Swagger, which was, of course, based on Mick Jagger. You know, and Iggy Pop put together. It's kind of in a weird way. Then he was Lou Reed. Lou Reed did his singing for him.
Yes. And Iggy did one, Pain and Suffering.
The very, very end. Yeah. So it's really weird.
Yeah.
Samantha Langevin, Mok's computer. No one.
Okay, so Mok's computer.
Badass.
I'm going to tell you that every time I looked at it, and this is weird, and it would talk, like, it looked like a duckbill flashing and like a pharaoh hat. Yes. And I'm like, is this a DuckTales computer? From Egypt?
It was a weird deal because it would like turn and it would do the same thing. Yeah. That was one of the few.
It was a duck and a pharaoh.
Yeah.
Whatever that's called. What's a pharaoh hat called?
A pharaoh?
A pharaoh.
Oh, yeah. You mean like the...
like the big thing. Yeah. That's what the computer had.
Yeah.
Had the thing, and then the duck bill, and then the flash.
It was like a
what
sphinx.
Is this wacky?
Yeah.
Like
it looked
that.
like a sphinx.
Sure.
There was a lot of Egyptian imagery in a weird way. Imagery.
Rural juror.
Okay, so then we got Dan Hennessy was Dizzy.
And this is the most important person in the whole damn thing.
Real name, Alphonse.
Yes. You may know him from a quadrilogy of movies called The Care Bears.
Oh.
Yeah, he was Braveheart Lion, son.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you need to know.
He's the one that rips ass. I mean, like farts.
Also in the Highlander, the animated series.
Yes.
And he played RoboCop in RoboCop, the animated series. And I'm just going to leave it there because that guy did a lot of voices. A lot of voices.
You got Greg Duffel as Stretch and Zip.
Yep.
Chris Wiggins is Toad. Brent Titcomb. was Sleazy. Donnie Burns.
Sleazy's one of the like originally there were two, the Tweedledums or Tweedledee.
Yeah,
big
but there's
guys,
three triplets
but
on
there's
roller
three,
skates. Yeah.
and then we find out their sister Cinderella.
Yeah, Cindy. Yeah.
Cinderella.
And then, of course, Maurice LaMarche has been on tons of stuff too, right? He was the sailor in it. He still does. He's Egon in the real Ghostbusters. So there you go. Pinky and the Brain, different things like that. And then one of Canada's greatest exports, Catherine O'Hara. Mm-hmm. She's Aunt Edith. Aunt Edith is the tattoo artist in this.
Oh, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
So kind of, you can't really tell it's her. Very good, you know. So they kept with everybody there in Canada, which is pretty cool.
And I think that kind of sets us up for the cast, right?
Yes, 100%.
And I think we'll get back right after this break.
Chocolate is scrumptious, very crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
And we're back.
All right. So, on to the movie itself. Let's get up in there. Let's get up in there like a tick.
Gross.
I know. We're going to
Ticks are gross.
burrow in there and get it good. Okay, so this is what the movie is about. So let's kind of start with the opening crawl. They kind of give you a little bit about what's going on, right? And I am going to give you a little bit about what it's about. Ooh. You better hold on.
So the introduction at the beginning is only in the American version.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad I watched the American version because it. So the introduction at the beginning is only in the American version.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I'm glad I watched the American version.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'd been like, thought I was in like a.
like, where is it?
It wouldn't be the same world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. In my mind, it would have been Alien.
Right. I gotta find that deal.
Because I thought it really gave the good, explanation of that there had been like nuclear war and everything died except for like, what was it, like rats and dogs and shit.
Yeah, it was basically the Planet of the Apes deal.
Yeah, except they were
Reversed.
Yeah.
So basically, okay. Here's the story. It's many years after World War III, right?
Yes.
After World War III, I guess nuclear destruction. The world was destroyed. So you had nothing but dogs, cats, rats, whatever.
Yeah.
They were the only things that survived, and they grew and evolved.
Right.
They must have evolved really fast too, because they had floating cars. There were still buildings left from the apocalypse.
Right.
So that's where I'm kind of thinking.
Well, they were irradiated, so it was like
it was like instantaneous.
accelerated.
Yeah. But then they
like
all
mutants.
Yeah. Then they all started, a billboard chart.
Yeah, as you would.
Weird.
As you would. We're going to need some music.
Yes. But what's cool about it is it's futuristic, so maybe they were a little bit into the future, whenever
Kinda
World War
seems
III
that way.
happened. Yeah, and they didn't come up with all of that stuff.
No.
So they kind of crawl in on Ohmtown.
Yes.
OHM town, right?
See how they did that?
Yep. Oh, sweet Ohmtown, and so you kind of get this weird, ominous creature. They come back and because Mok Swagger, he's looking for this voice, that's going to change the world pretty much in whatever he wants. But he's aging, so he's kind of fallen out of favor with everybody. He's no longer the David Bowie of 1983.
Right.
He's David Bowie 1987. You know what I mean? Still has hits, but everybody's like,
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Something like
Probably
that.
like,
yeah, kind of.
yeah.
That's kind of a
I see where. Yeah, I see where
Yeah.
you're going for sure.
So,
When
yeah.
past his prime.
Yeah. So he tells one of his drivers or whatnot, get the car. We got one more show, because he's traveled all over the entire world, I guess.
Yeah, it seems.
Looking for this one voice. We don't really know what the one voice is until, because he's riding in his car, right? Toad's driving him, and Toad is one of the Slepper brothers. And so he's driving him in that badass like car or whatever, the floating car. They even have flying cars. Why the fuck don't we?
I don't know.
Right?
Those brothers are huge, though.
Yeah, they're big, and he's like squeezed
Even
behind the wheel.
sister.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah. And then Mok is like chilling in the back seat, and he's like, pull up the Armageddon key. You know, and the Armageddon key is basically what he's looking for. There's one voice that's going to
Release this demon.
Yeah, it's a demon.
Yeah.
And he's going to be in control of it, he thinks.
He thinks.
Yeah.
But
that's what he wants to do. Because again, he's probably more pissed that he's fallen out of favor.
yeah, of course.
You know, he's like,
well, they're even talking about how the computer's even telling him like how it's falling down the charts.
yeah, record sales are a little bit lower. So they go to, they go to the Mylars, right?
Yes.
Mylars is a club where they're having a battle of the bands or something like that, right?
Yeah, almost like sort of, I guess.
Yeah,
it's like
so-
kind of like the Gong Show.
Yeah, right. Kind of, right? There's only one person in the audience
Right.
besides Mylar and his little bitty mole friend, you know? So Mylar is this rat, and he's like, fabuloso. You know, he's just a weird dude, right?
He's definitely stereotypical
promoter.
Promoter, yeah.
Yeah, club dude.
Yeah.
So
Club dude.
yeah. So we're backstage, right? And we get to see we get to see the titular characters, right?
Yeah.
The main ones.
The ones that rock and rule.
That's right. Omar
Yes.
and Angel. You know,
Yes.
Omar's like playing by himself, right? And she's basically like, will you let me sing a song? He's like, yeah, whatever. You know, kind of blows her off, right? And
She
then,
persists, though.
right. So they got like 5 minutes to showtime. They're treating it like it's the biggest gig of their life, right? They didn't even know Mok was going to be there, right? I don't think we do
We
either.
don't either. Yeah.
So, you know, of course, it was like that first band that walks out, and he's like, I too like the sound of cats boiling in oil.
Yes.
What?
A great line.
Yeah, it was weird. And tonight's last band, and it starts playing, and it's a pretty rocking song too.
Yeah, they come out rocking it out.
Oh man, I mean, he's like throwing stuff and kicking, and their instruments are all cool, right? You know, of course, he promises Angel that she can, you know, play her song or whatnot if they get a chance to do two. So right in the middle of it, of course, they get
Yeah, like
yeah,
that closes the curtain on them.
right.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, he's like, just give us one more shot, right? So he starts again jamming it, right? He's like, fucking turn it on, because he like he holds up his guitar like he's gonna hurt him. He's like, give me one good reason. He's like, and he like puts it right.
That's a good reason.
He's like, that's a good reason. Let's go. And again, our final act, right? So comes on, and then he's
Playing
ripping
the same
it.
song.
Yeah, ripping it, right? But then Angel starts. She starts singing her song, Angel song, right? And right at the one point, it's like the slowest and the lowest, and it's just her voice by itself. Because the other band members, Dizzy and Stretch, are like, all right, well, let's play her song.
Right.
You know, so, and it gets to where Mok's ring starts going off, right?
Right.
And his ring is like freaking out, but Omar's already walked off the stage. He's like, fuck this. You know, I don't want to have anything to do with this. So the ring goes off. That's the one voice that he needs, right? So, you know, they're backstage, and, you know, everybody's pissed in the band, right? So they're kind of run away. And then Omar goes to find Angel,
Right.
which she's sitting in some part of Hometown somewhere, some alley. Nobody's out. It's like they're the only ones there, just like the one person, the Bobby Soxer, that was literally watching them drinking a Coke in the front row, right?
Right.
So there's like 8 people that are alive in the whole city. Must be late. So yeah, Mok's following them because he knows that that's the one. And then he sees Omar and Angel. They kind of, Omar concedes and he's like, you were good, so let's get over this. So then they go out to make out point.
Yeah, as you do.
Right. After you get to see
And
Mok
those,
kind of
those
like
cars
drive
were
away.
rocking there.
Right. One of them was. And it was like, yeah.
It's got some vert.
And so one of the Slepper brothers rips open the top of the deal, hands him a card. Won't you come up to my place for a spell?
Right.
Because, obviously they've given the impression that Mok is like a supernatural kind of a dude. He's like a magic.
Yeah.
Mok the magic man. You know what I mean?
Magic man.
So, of course, home dude's like, whatever. Omar is like, this is bullshit. This is never going to fly. So he's like, I'm not going. You guys can go. So the next day, they all load up. And he's like, I thought you weren't going. But he did go.
Yeah.
Right? So he gets there. The first person to answer the door was one of the Slepper brothers. And that was, which one?
I don't
Zip.
know their names.
Zip was the first one that they
the
come
dumb
to.
one.
Yeah. And he's like, Mok!
Well, it's cool because at first he's like super cool guy. And he's like, I'm not getting out of the car.
Yeah.
But as soon as that dude's there, he's like right up in front.
He's like, Mok! Good to see you. He kind of goes through his whole deal and he's like, I'm not Mok. And he's like, okay.
And then his brother shows up.
He's like, Mok! You told him I was Mok.
That went a little too long.
Yeah. But they were big, giant, imposing dudes, and so they're fighting. He's like, "Come on, let's blow this joint, right?" And these two, losers or whatnot, right? So he's walking away, and then there's this one voice that goes, 3. So 3. This one speaks in numbers, So
And this is a smart one though.
Yeah. He's the enforcer. He's a badass, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, I get probably the oldest. Mm-hmm. So, that's whenever they're like, follow me. They go into like really cool sunken living room with some like graphics on the deal. And, then there's Mok, and Mok's like, uses like special effects. And he's like, anybody want a beer? You know what I mean? He's holding it on his thumb and shit too. Right? Like, awesome, right? So, of course, Omar's being annoying, being a dick, right? And he's like, hey, bring on the Edison balls.
Yeah, and this is where they're introduced as the roller skating Schlepper brothers.
Yeah.
Because they are on roller skates always.
Yeah.
I don't know that we ever said that.
Oh, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, Toad, Sleazy, and Zip.
Yeah.
Right? So they kind of do their whole deal and, kind of hit each other a little bit, and they leave, right?
Yep.
So then Mok is basically like, bring on the Edison balls. So they bring them out. They throw one in Omar's lap, and he's like mesmerized. It's like a cool drug, but it's really not a drug. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's some sort of
like
alternate reality.
A mind
deal.
thing.
Yeah.
So
brain skin.
Yeah, right. So it makes them totally stone out, right? And he takes.
And we do
Angel.
get to see some of the stuff that he sees.
Right.
At one point,
Yeah, just kind of in his eyes, and it's like just really mesmerizing, cool, right? So they're both stoned out of their gourds with that part right there going on. But Mok has taken Angel on his own, and he's like, you need to come with me. We're going to tour the world. I'm going to do everything for you, right? But then that's when we get to see the Slepper brothers are behind a curtain somewhere, running the effects.
Right.
So Mok is not magic. No. He's not supernatural. They're just doing some bullshit.
Right.
They're using effects, which are really great, by the way.
Yeah.
And, I mean, totally convincing. So.
But Dizzy gets away.
Yeah. Dizzy's like escaping because they're like, what? I thought there was 3 of them, right?
Right.
So he's getting away trying to find Angel. Mok's trying to talk her into it. She's like, the band's just getting good. We're going to be yes, I don't want to leave them. And he's like, whatever. So then he traps her.
Right.
He knocks her out, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it.
It was a plant, I think, or
It
something.
was a rose. It turns into, it's like, what?
On her face, yeah.
Yeah. So it probably knocks her out.
Yeah, that's what I assume.
Yeah. Yeah, like strangles her. Till she passes out.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, all right, let's go to New York. He's telling New York. That's the name of my Animal Crossing town. It is
nice.
New York. So So basically, they're all of a sudden they start pulling all these levers and everything like that, and they find, and you get to see like the house that Mok lives in is like turning into a dirigible. Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, and he's walking really slow. I liked how the animation was in this movie because it wasn't like fluid, really fast, but I guess it was more in the slow, fluid way, so it's kind of flowy.
Yeah.
I'll
buy that.
Yeah. So of course you got the two dudes that are stoned, right? They take them out. They find Dizzy, right? He's like, I've been looking for you. And he's like, so he throws it in there.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah. They make fun of him, throw him into the car, right?
Right.
And that's when he noticed, he's like, Angel's not coming. She's going to New York. Right. And like, I'm bored. Let's go. He's like, I'm bored.
This is after the car scene.
Well, that's before, yeah. So they kind of bump the car, right, that they're all three sitting in that they took there, and the car starts going down the mountain, right? Yeah. But of course, Stretch's car.
Right.
He's stoned, right? They're going down the way, and Dizzy's just got his hand on the wheel.
Yeah, like he's from the back seat.
Yeah.
And flying at that point.
Yeah, he's got no keys. Give me the keys! The keys! And then, of course, they go over some embankment or something like that. They land. But Mok is still in the air.
Right.
He's taking off.
He's traveling to New York.
Yeah, and he has his own freaking deal. That's, what's weird is, at the very beginning, they got there and they threw all the bags down. Like they were taking some other kind of transport. But with this time, they expanded the dirigible.
Yes.
And they became the Hindenburg Mok.
Yes. Yes.
So they're going to New York, which I guess is only 3 days away.
Yeah. By dirigible.
Yeah, by dirigible. 2 days away. By dirigible, 3 day by car.
Oh,
yeah.
Take us 6.
So, yeah. So they crash and everything like that. They all wake up in the fountain and, Stretch is like, my voltage wagon, and then a cop shows up all of a sudden, right? Because the cop was being a dick earlier too, like almost ran him off the road. So the cop shows up.
And he was mentioned, yeah.
He did some, and then Omar does some duck season, rabbit season shit.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what I thought too.
Yeah, he does some duck season, rabbit season deal, and the cop's like, "No, I'll get the evidence." He's like, "No, you get the evidence. I'll get the evidence." And they steal his cop car, right?
Right, and head to New York themselves.
So they're on to New York,
yes.
Right? Because he says that Angel owes him an explanation.
Yeah, he's being a real cock about it.
Yeah, he's a dick face. Yeah. So they start their their montage journey across the deal, right?
As you would.
But we kind of the next scene they show them in New York,
yes.
But it's Mok and what's her name, Angel, and she's refusing to sing. She's like, nah, I'm not going to sing for you. Because he just, and there was like a little news broadcast saying that he was coming out of seclusion to play a special show that he promises to be like the ultimate show, for everybody.
Right.
So we don't get to see that show too, by the way.
No. That's the one at Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie.
Yes, Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie
there are
Hall.
things in this, like it's hard for me to say New York.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so like a little bit different,
right.
Because Radio City Music Hall apparently is still there. That's where they're staying. That's where his dirigible is parked.
Yes, that's where you park your dirigible.
I know, right? So, he locks her up, right?
Yeah, because she's like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, she's like, I ain't doing this crap, right?
Right.
But that we have that montage scene that they're playing, loud music in the cop car and going across things,
right.
And they get to the gate, and you got the there's like power lockout, Home dude's like, no, nobody in, no unauthorized vehicles, and he's like, Inspector blah blah blah. So they get arrested,
right?
Okay,
which gets them oddly enough into New York.
Yeah, in a weird way.
Yeah,
either
way, mission accomplished.
Yeah,
just
so they win, right?
Yeah.
So they're there. And she's getting locked up in some room somewhere. But that's when we meet Cinderella.
Yes.
She is the Slepper Brothers' sister that's on roller skates all the time, too. You see her underwear the whole time. Just weird. And her Winged Heart 1495 tattoo.
Yes.
Which
we find out about later.
Yeah. So it's Saturday night. And Angel's trying to act hip or whatnot, right? She's like, I don't know, let's go find something cool to do. She's like, wait a minute, how old are you?
She's like, aren't you a little older than like his normal?
Yeah, aren't you a little dated?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
She's like, what do you mean? Oh, it's okay. And that's when she's crawling through the vent system, right?
Yeah.
So they're sneaking out through the vent.
overhears.
So she sees Mok talking to the computer in his like Devo outfit.
Yeah, the
Right?
DuckTales computer. Yeah,
Yes,
the
but it's
DuckTales Pharaoh computer. Yes.
yeah, but it's basically a giant brain that's hooked up to a screen,
Right.
That you get to see in this like pumping air into it.
Right,
It's
right.
fucking cool looking,
really
right?
cool.
And so we find out that Mok is he gets the notes that need to be sung
Right.
to start the Armageddon key,
Yes.
right? And he also finds out that no one can send the demon back. No one.
But she says, like the computer,
Yeah, she's like, there is
one song, one heart, one voice, or one something.
Yeah, and she and then she's like the computer stops, like, let me look. Let me go see if I can find somebody. He's like, no one can do it. And he's like, yes, I'm gonna win.
Right.
So Angel gets out.
Foreshadowing.
Yes. So remember,
No one.
no one. Okay.
No one.
So they finally get out and they go to some club 666.
Yes.
Right, and that's where Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's like an anti-gravity club, which is
crazy.
It's crazy because I don't even get it. You know, it's just a way to like put a whole bunch of wacky shit everywhere, right?
that's all.
So it's Studio 54
Oh, 100%.
for the year 5422.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's like a banana man and there's strippers
all
and
kinds of wacky shit.
crazy stuff, right?
Yeah, you're just writing that scene to write that scene.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because we find out that the guys were bailed out. Omar, Dizzy, and Stretch were bailed out by Alphonse, which is Dizzy,
Yes.
his aunt. Right?
Yes.
She's a tattoo artist, and she's tattooing some, sailor dude, right? It was not my fault. He's a kind of crazy looking dude. And he gets like a mermaid tattooed, and he even asks, "Is this salt water ready?" What? Who would? It's weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she's like, I heard that the Slepper sister, Cinderella hangs out at the 666 club.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, let's go. Right. So they end up there, and we don't know what they look like.
Doesn't she tell her the story of Cinderella? Tell him the story of Cinderella in that scene. Like, isn't there a piece of that?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay. I've never mind. Like I felt like there was a piece of that, like, and then he like shuts it down, and then like she tells him more about where the kid is.
Yeah,
Anyways,
he's being.
There was a Cinderella reference in there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah. So so they go in. They go to get her at Club 666, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing their Earth, Wind, and Fire dance, right? Yeah. And they know who Cinderella is because she's got that winged heart tattoo,
right?
So
I can tell you she had my $14.95 special.
Yeah, my $14.95 special. And so they're basically like going all over the club, dancing, looking for stuff, right?
Right, and like they're all in the same club.
Yeah.
But they never find each other, and that's okay. I've been to clubs where you're not going to find each other.
It's an anti-gravity club too.
Yeah.
So there's like, how do you get in? How do you get out?
Right.
We get to see whenever they arrive at the club, the doorman's battling mutants.
Yeah, 100%.
And the mutants like melt and stuff like that. It's
She's
fucking
like,
cool.
ew.
She's like, oh my God, mutants. Mutants in the foyer.
Steps over it.
Yeah. And it's like, so obviously there are mutated people.
Oh yeah.
Gross ones, and not like regular lizard dudes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not.
So
they're not fully developed.
Right. So
The hills have eyes of this.
Yeah, they're
universe.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it's New York.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just building up.
What can you expect?
Right.
Right.
It's almost like the sewer people of New York and Futurama. Yeah, it's all underground. You know what I mean? So
basically New York in the 70s?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Don't go here. Don't go to New York in the 70s. They even had like a manual saying, don't come here. It was like, this is what you need to watch out for in New York City.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, if I had the ability to go to New York in the 70s, I wouldn't choose New York in the 70s.
No. Boca Raton or something.
Boca Raton.
Nobody's there. Yet.
Boca Raton in 1860.
Nice. Nobody there but alligators.
That's fine.
So they end
That was
up
a weird digression. Anyway.
So they end up finding her, right?
Yes.
Back
to the show.
Yeah, Stretch, his nose goes up her butt somehow, you know.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I want to dance, right? So Angel's looking for a way out, right?
Right.
We never see Omar throughout this whole part. You know, they kind of use the comedy relief guys.
Yeah.
In that part of it.
Just when she leaves, then he's following her. Yeah.
Right. So, and she gets up, starts doing her dance.
Yeah. Yeah, she does. A lot of spinning.
Yeah, with some little dude. She like knocks him and is like, wee, 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 like a top, right? And then, of course, there's the Toad, the older Schlepper brother. He immediately grabs both of the dudes, right?
Yeah.
Or
Dizzy
one of them does, yeah.
Dizzy and Stretch.
And Stretch. And then he comes for her and he's like, let's go. You know, she's like, she like sinks her head in and everything. You know what I mean? So sad for her. You feel so bad. Because she was going to be back at like midnight because that's when Toad checks on her.
Right.
What does she do?
So she just hangs out.
I guess, right? It's weird.
In that building.
Yeah.
Climbs through the vents to get places.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah. So.
Hence the Cinderella.
Right.
Yeah.
So Omar goes chasing her.
Yes.
But what we find it out.
What did we find it out?
But what we saw before was before they went for Angel, right?
Yeah.
Mok's like, let's have a little bit of fun.
Right.
It's like, what? Get me what's her face. So you're like, all right. Did he forget her name?
That's what, yeah. 100% you're like,
what's her face? So he does go up some abandoned tenement building, right? He finds Mok up there hanging out with Angel, and Angel's like, you can go ahead and leave because I ain't coming back with
She's
you.
like all over him. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, no. And he screams and everything like that. So he freaks out. Yes. And must have passed out or had something.
Yeah.
Right? Something happened to him. So
about a narcolepsy. Yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So
when I get mad, I pass out.
It's like that goat stuff where the goats pass out.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they like
fainting ghosts.
Yeah.
Or ghosts. Fainting goats. Yeah.
Yeah. Where you run up to them and they're like, oh.
You just like have an umbrella and pop it and they just fall over. It's awesome.
It's so awesome. Especially the baby ones.
I love to see babies fall over more.
Baby goats.
Oh, okay.
So we get to see what's under the mask.
Yes.
It's a hideous, disfigured woman.
Yes. And like they throw the angel mask out in the night.
Right. And it looks like it, but it lands in the the next room.
It does. It does.
It's a weird mask,
but it is what's her face.
Yeah, that's what's her face. So that makes sense, right? She can impersonate
Master
people.
of disguise.
Yeah.
It's because she doesn't really have a face, though.
Correct.
Like her own face.
Correct. Because it's all like messed up, irradiated or something.
Yeah.
So he has his fun.
Yes.
And the show happens. But we don't get to see the show. We get to see the aftermath of the show.
Right. Which was the whole place blew up.
Pretty much.
Carnegie Hall blew up.
Yeah. It leveled to the ground.
Lived up to its name that day.
Mm-hmm. And Mok's like, he's flipping out because he doesn't know what's really going on. He gets high as soon as he wakes up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He wakes up and he like smokes a little joint while home dude's watching Uncle Mikey.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, boys and girls.
What was his name? Mikey. The kind of dumb.
That was Zip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's him watching Uncle Mikey.
Yeah, Uncle Mikey, and it's like he's a child, like brother, right?
He's like Leatherface.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Okay, so so he kind of starts figuring out: are we? what we're doing, is it good or bad? And Mok's
Yeah.
like, whatever. Gives his weird speech after he smokes a joint, right? And then he's even toots some like cocaine or something
he
like that
does.
from his ring. He's like,
Dude, he's a rock star.
I know, right? So, and he's totally like, he's on point after that, right? So he gives that whole big old speech, whatever, and throws the Uncle Mikey doll.
Right.
So that was a little bit of foreshadowing as well.
Right.
But we find out, of course, that he blew up, Carnegie Hall. He had to figure out why that happened.
Turns out, not enough power.
He needs more power.
Yeah.
Where's the most power?
The power plant
Ohmtown.
in Ohmtown.
Right?
You go to the power plant in Ohmtown.
Yeah. And Homegirl's like, what'd you do with my friends? And he's like, follow me, So, and that was before, I think. That was before she's like, I'm not singing.
Yeah.
So it's after What's Her Face. And they're in a giant Edison ball.
Right.
Right. And he's like destroying them somehow. He's doing something to them.
Nothing good.
No. And she's like, okay, whatever. Then they have the concert, destroys everything. And you get to see, the I Survived the Mok t-shirt.
Right. You're not selling very well.
Yeah. And so they're like, oh, the computer tells him, you got to go back to Ohmtown.
Right.
Like, all right, let's go. So let's set up a concert. Call that Mylar dude.
Right.
Set up a show at the power plant, which is huge, by the way.
Ohmtown.
A huge floor for them. So what I'm wondering is, are they really that big? Or are they still small?
Oh. Dun, 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 dun.
But then they would have had to adapt all. Well, and that doesn't make sense because the
structure.
Yeah, the actual cities and everything were still
It's
standing.
just toys.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, just weird.
Models.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's
So he sets up that concert, right?
Right.
And of course, all the guys see Angel before they leave.
Right.
And they're all messed up and brainwashed, and they hop on the train and they're back in Ohmtown, right? So Mok starts his concert, right? When they get back, and that's an awesome song too.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, dude. And the way that he's doing the stuff, doom, 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 doom,
with the lights.
I mean, it's like he does it, and it's a pentagram light comes on, but they need to boost the power, so they boost the power up all the way, and it's like, and they put
a lightning rod,
at the very top. Why didn't they do that in New York? Right?
I don't know.
Come on, maybe they didn't have one.
Yeah, maybe that was like, okay, we're gonna go to the power plant and get a lightning rod.
Right,
covering all the bases.
Yeah, so
worked for Frankenstein.
So that basically causes that whatever power surge,
right?
And it shocks the three guys while they're singing, some, lovey-dovey. I forgot what the name of the band. It was like Omar and the Sweet Tones or something like that.
Yeah,
it was something really bad because they were back at Mylar's place,
right?
Even though he's not there, so I don't know what the hell they were doing.
Just happy to be playing on the stage,
I guess. And they were letting them.
Yeah. Mok probably told him.
He's like, Mylar, let them play.
Yeah.
So back to the concert. We noticed that they woke up and they're like, what the hell happened, right? We need to go, where are we? How's this working? Then they see the poster for Mok at Ohmtown Power Plant.
Right. And it's got the pentagram, right?
I think so.
And her in the middle of it.
Well, it's basically like a top part of Mok's face with his mouth open.
Okay, yeah.
And she's in the middle.
She's in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's what it was.
So we kind of get a glimpse of what happened in the first one after when the news deal was going. So the demon did come out, didn't stay. She was chained up, kind of like Conan,
right?
To the tree of life or whatnot. Yeah, and so she starts singing, right? And he basically, after they boosted the power, everything like that, Omar and all of them are on their way to help her. They steal the cop car again.
Yes, as you do.
Yeah, and it's the same scene, just put in a different spot.
Yep, absolutely.
They saved some money there. They're like, man, that's $50,000. We made it under budget. So we're back at the concert. The pentagram is lit. The power is all working. The demon starts to come up, right?
Right.
Dizzy and Stretch end up, because Omar took off first right? So we didn't really get to see him, but Dizzy and Stretch, still the cop car, they crashed through the gates, right?
Right.
Did everybody walk there? Where's the parking lot? You know,
Yeah, good question.
Logistics.
Yeah.
So they end up getting inside, just sitting on the seat, right? And they're seeing this big giant demon come out.
Right.
You know,
It's big.
it's huge, right? It's
Kind of
bigger than-
badass looking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy the way that they animated it, and it's all like sparkly and stuff. And you know, of course, Mok's like, "Yes, I did it!" Right? And he starts eating people, and everybody's like, "Whoa!" You know, that's why I'd be like, "Whoa, dude, this is a great show, Mok. Mok, you still got it." Power and the glory of me. Triumph. So basically Omar comes up there. And he uses his guitar like a battle axe.
Yes, he
which
does.
of course you
Yeah.
do. It's a synthesizer. I mean, it's got some weight.
Sure.
You know? So he literally like frees Angel, right? And Mok's like, whatever. You can do whatever you want to, right?
Don't even care about that.
Yeah, and then he basically wants the demon to attack. But the rest of the crowd's still there. You know,
Right.
they're like thinking it's part of the show. So he tries to kill Omar and Angel, but Zip steps in front, gets knocked into the wall, right? Technically, he dies,
Yeah.
right? And that pisses off Toad,
Yeah.
right? Toad's mad. He's like, "Rrr," you know, I mean, he's getting angry. Mok's on this like power sled above everything, like
Right.
badass, right?
It is cool.
Yeah,
Cool
he
shit.
he looks like that.
Not a power sled like Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe movies from the 80s.
No. but it's basically like, what if the Blue Man Group were on a hoverboard?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
So imagine that
there you go.
with a big giant pipe organ.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Mok's like just, you know, kind of hanging up there like, whatever, I can do whatever I want to, right?
I got a demon now.
Right. And then Angel is like, I got to send it back. I brought it here. I got to send it back. So she starts singing her song.
Right.
Oh, what will the signal be? No music behind it, nothing like that, right? So she's just singing to it. Like, I can do it. Omar joins in.
Right.
What? No one. Get it?
Yeah.
So their voices together.
Takes two.
One heart, one song, one soul, one voice. Yeah. So they're like, oh my God, it's working. And Mok's freaking out, right? So, of course, Toad, that's when Toad is like, no.
Right.
Throws him into the pentagram.
Yeah.
That's pretty wicked, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And-
I thought he was going to, like, just crack him,
Right.
crack his neck, you know?
Right.
When you first saw that.
But
it was intense.
Yeah, because he was mad.
Yeah. Mad.
He was mad.
He was mad, boy.
And so Mok's like crawling out of the hole, right?
Right.
But he just can't do it. He can't get all the way out. So he eventually slides down to the very wherever it is.
Yeah.
You know, Mok's in, you know,
Wherever that dimension that thing came from.
Mok's somewhere else, right?
Yep.
You know, there was actually a Marvel comic around that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like
and
what happens to Mok when he goes to hell?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check that
It's like
out.
a continuation. I need to find it.
That'd be worth having.
So, yeah. So Angel and Omar stop the demon and they get the crowd loving it. Guess who comes up at the very end? This is the new sensation. I'm Mylar. And talking about the new band.
Yes.
And we're done.
And that was the movie.
That was the movie Rock and Rule. Because that's what they did.
They
It
rocked.
rocks and it ruled. That's all I got to say.
I'll be honest. I enjoyed watching it. First time. It was kind of cool to, you know, like some of the people that were in it too, you know, obviously.
Well, I mean, all the way back in 1983?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, the American distributors buried this shit. completely buried it. They didn't get it, you know?
Right.
So they kind of, there was no merchandising. They probably had like a $500 advertising budget. That's why I didn't make any money, you know? It had profanity in it and everything like that, but I think at one point there's like a shit or a hell or something like that, right? But not bad, you know? I mean, heavy metal was successful because they were playing it late at night.
Sure.
Why didn't they do that with this? I think if more people would see this movie, the more people would really like it, you know? Or at least be like, yeah, something's missing out there, and this is it.
I could see that.
But, you know, Canada was proud of it because they did do the uncut with the uncut version, and they showed it on their TV. And Zip lives in that one, too. He doesn't die.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lives. There's extra footage for every release that they had.
Okay.
Different stuff here and there, different stuff there and there. And we got where we're at. I mean, they didn't do anything. They mentioned them on Night Flight.
Night Flight, wow.
Yeah. So, and I thought this too. For the longest time, I thought that Lou Reed, there was a version where all these people did the voices, like Debbie Harry was actually Angel. Or,
really?
yeah, Robin Zander was actually so-and-so, and Lou Reed was Mok.
Right.
But I was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there was an original one like that.
Could have been. I wouldn't have known.
Mm.
I didn't even know about this movie until like a month or 3 ago when you were like, hey, you ever seen this movie?
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a weird animated movie. It's just...
It's definitely worth a watch, though, I think.
Yeah.
If you're into animation and some rock.
Definitely.
And some rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So final thoughts on the movie?
Obviously, I think it telegraphs its big move pretty early in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But for a 1983 movie with, you know, rock stars involved, cool animation. The animation was definitely cool, you know?
Oh, yeah. They were doing really cool stuff with it. I mean, I like the characters because they were more rotoscope kind of style, you know? So they kind of had the natural movements. And really, you got to think, though, this was an hour and 17 minutes. That's shorter than a typical movie.
Oh, yeah.
So even if you would have added an extra 3 minutes of footage and maybe 10 minutes of footage,
right,
probably would have made it better. But they relied on the music to kind of carry everything, unlike heavy metal, you know, that relied on the music and the crazy stories. You know, it was an anthology and they had that going for it. But this one was just like, hey, let's have a rocking soundtrack. Heavy metal did badass. Let's do ours, you know. And there we go.
And there we go.
Because it's weird, you know, how these movie studios can just bury stuff.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, if they just don't get the film, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I know. It's like, why not? Because honestly, if this went out to the theaters, I probably wouldn't have seen it. But I
definitely not in 1983.
Nah, my parents might have taken me to that because 1983 was the year of the Jedi.
Yeah,
you know. So
I've been busy Jediing.
Damn right. But I love this movie. I really do. It's one of the movies that I've watched for over 30 years, you know, 35 years, 33 to 35 years, whatever, you know.
Right on, man.
Been watching it since probably 87, 88, whenever we had it. So it's one of the movies that stuck with me, you know, for the longest time. It was animated and it could be an adult theme movie. You know, to a certain degree.
It definitely was.
And
that's especially in 1983, 100%.
Yeah, and the exposure to the music I didn't really take to heart until later on. I was like,
oh yeah, of course. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, nobody was like, oh, that's really cool. This was like, I didn't know anybody that else had seen it.
Right.
Until I bought that VCD copy. But yeah, I remember back in the old internet days, whenever everything was all text-based, just going on websites being like, wow, they got all this information about this? What?
Right.
It was all wrong. And then Unearth, and thank God for Unearth to be able to do something like that, which is really cool. They get those properties. It's kind of like...
What was the name of it again? Unearthed?
Unearthed Films. I'm trying to remember if they did anything else. I know they've been... they got kind of big.
They get too big for their britches?
Nah.
I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
U.S. Films?
Unearthed.
Oh, they're producing movies now.
That imports exploitation films primarily from Eastern Asia. What?
Okay. We got to stop looking at this.
Yeah.
We're going to be foreshadowing an upcoming special we're going to do.
Yeah. The Unearthed Films.
Sure. I feel like this could very easily link to a couple movies that I sent you.
Oh, I think I got one just right there. Yes. Okay, so yeah, so overall, if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube. You can look up Rock and Roll.
Yeah, watch it for free.
Yeah.
On the tubes.
Stick it out. It's worth it to know that all of these people did that.
Yeah,
big singers, big acts, all doing something really cool
and enjoying it. Like,
yeah.
What was really cool was Lou Reed was like, I was hoping that I could convey more in my music, in the songs for the artists, and he even says how great of a job they did.
Oh yeah,
like everybody seemed very happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the project.
Yeah.
Which is seldom when you have that many big name people and involved. Iggy Pop said the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Lou Reed was kind of synonymous with being kind of a dick to reporters and stuff like that, but that seems pretty high marks for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying, Yeah. And I'm not saying he was like a terrible person.
No.
Or anything.
He was just the media crap.
Nobody liked that media. Damn old media. But yeah, I appreciate you sharing it. Definitely not something I would have picked out because I didn't even know about it. But glad I watched it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
I would give it 3 out of 4 nuclear wars.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why I'm on a scale of 4 now.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 nuclear wars. Okay, well, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah, and honestly, what I would like to hear is if anybody has, any memories of this, or if you watch it and you're like, hey, I got something to say about that, say it.
Yeah, if you've seen this movie.
Yeah.
Come on. I want to meet other people. Not like I don't want to go to IHOP or anything and be like, yo, this table, this is the Rock and Roll fan club, which would be cool.
You should start the Rock and Roll fan club, the Drop Culture Rock and Roll fan club.
Yes. And it would just be like us.
Probably.
But hey, we can go get coffee sometime. Like, I'm going to stop for coffee. You want some? Cool. Yeah, I'll meet you there. But, yeah, definitely hit us up.
Yeah.
On something. That would be so awesome to know anybody else out there likes this. It's weird. But yeah, hit us up on the World Wide Web. www.dropculture.com. The webpage is always up, which is pretty bitchin'.
It is pretty bitchin'. I agree. That guy did a good job.
That's my worth. Bitchin'. I'm worth bitchin'. Well, I feel bad for the guys to only make 30,000 out of it. So, if we can throw them an extra couple of bucks, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yes. All right. I'm Brock.
And I'm Dan.
And we are the Drop Culture Podcast.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Let's do the Scooby-Doo thing. man. I didn't know that was your first time to watch it.
Yeah.